We've all heard about the new coach bump. A team is struggling, so they make a coaching change. Suddenly, a team that couldn't win can't lose. Bruce Boudreau knows all about that. Coach, you were a new coach in a new scenario 4 different times in an NHL city, and it always worked so well for you. What was the secret? How does a new guy behind the bench get a team to do something they couldn't do under the old guy?
Well, first of all, when you're hired as the new guy, the team is usually really struggling. So, I mean, you've got the advantage right there as the coach. And what you've got to do is, like, everybody is going to be on their best behavior. They all want to play better than they did the last time. They want to say, hey, listen, this last coach benched me. I want to show this new coach that I can play really well where I won't get benched. So everybody plays better. The key is to make sure that this isn't just a bump and you continue it. So, I mean, that's when you start playing well, you got to continue it, and you got to find different ways to get them going here all the time. So, I mean, I think that's the big key of being a new coach. The other thing is when you're losing, it's always negative. And so when you come in as a new coach, you got to be positive, and show everything, whether it's video, whether it's just talking. Make them feel good about themselves again. When you do that, usually you get a really good bump.
I heard through the grapevine that you had a certain way you used to like to use video with a new team. Tell us about that.
Well, you know what? I always love video, and I'm a movie buff, so I would always throw in, especially at the beginning, like to take a little bit of the tension away, a clip from a movie, whatever movie I felt was appropriate at that time. An example, like my last time in Vancouver, we had won the first 2 games. So, I mean, they're a little on edge, they were a little excited. So instead of having a meeting about statistics and everything else, I showed a quick clip of, if we all watched the movie Major League, where the coach comes in and he says, hey boys, you won a game. That's really good. Then you won 2 games. And this was after the second game that we had won. And then he said, you know what happens if you win a 3rd game? It's called a winning streak. And I showed that to them, ended it. They all went, you know, like the big cheer went out there, and they were all pumped up to go out for the game. But I find those things, and like to stick with the positive method that I wanted to do, or the message that I wanted to give. And this was all good stuff, and get them excited about playing the game.
All right, Coach, that's pretty good. I want to ask you about the new guy in Toronto. Craig Berube took over the Toronto Maple Leafs, not because they couldn't win in the regular season, but because they couldn't get it done in the playoffs. Leaf fans are going to say, we don't care about the coach's bump in day 1 of the regular season. Who cares about that? We want to win in the playoffs. What's going to be key for Berube to change the culture of this team so they could win in the postseason?
Well, I think, and I'm guessing, obviously, I don't know what Craig's going to do, but I think he's going to change the way they play. And it might not mean that the amount of wins that they have or the high scoring that they have, but they're going to get into a little bit better defensive structure. They're going to play with a little more physicality. And I mean, I think that's, if it doesn't work in the beginning, but that's what works in the playoffs. And I think every Leaf fan just knows that, I mean, yeah, they want to win in the regular season, and that's what they'll say. But come April, or May, they want to win in the postseason. And I think one of the things with Craig's teams is they're always ready in the postseason. So I think that's going to be the biggest change for them. Is not going to be, you're not going to see the turnover stretch passes where everybody leaves the zone. You're going to see great defensive play and a little more physicality from their team.
You know what's really curious is FanDuel really believes there's going to be a coach's bump in New Jersey, where Sheldon Keefe, the former Leaf coach, now is, because after a rough year last year, the Devils now have the 3rd best odds of winning the Stanley Cup.